In this video, I'll show you how to get this dragon transformation, a second dragon form transformation that looks like this armor set along with its Greatbow, an arcane weapon that does lightning damage, this spirit summon, and some insane incantations. And it all starts at this site of grace. So you want to make your way over to the site of grace at the castle front, which is right before the entrance of Castle Ensis. And from the gravesite plain, when you arrive here, you're going to hop on your steed and make your way in the southeast direction. Now, what you want to do is follow this road up here. So stick to the left, don't go down there. That's where the little gates are over here. And you're going to walk past all these guards, just like this. There's also a little weapon that you could pick up on the way, so feel free to grab that. That's the Swift Spear. And then continue following this road down this pathway right through these bunch of gravestones here. Feel free to pick up any items. And then you start to see some worms as you keep going further up. So follow this pathway and you should see another site of grace right over here. So just make sure to pick up that site of grace. And you start to hear some sounds in the background. So head over to this guy over here. This NPC's name is Igon. And he'll start talking about Bayle the dragon. Now, if you decide to kill this NPC now to put him out of his misery, which a lot of players might accidentally do, you'll get his armor set, but you will ruin progression in this quest line. So please do not kill him at all. Let him live and continue walking down this road in the southwest direction. And eventually, as you keep going forward, your horse is going to come to a stop automatically. And in this game, that means an invasion is happening somewhere. So just look around. This bird might be on you, so get rid of that bird as fast as you can. And in the distance, you'll see the Ancient Dragon Man approach you. So just make sure to take this guy out to keep progressing this quest. He does have a dragon attack that shoots out fireballs if you get a little too far, so just be careful of that. Otherwise, it should be pretty easy if you apply pressure to him. After you take him out, nothing actually crazy happens. He doesn't drop anything special. But the invader does say it is vanquished, and you can continue going further down on that road. And eventually, as you keep going, you'll see a little cave entrance on your left over here. You just walk right in and you'll get on your screen the notification that you have entered the Dragon's Pit. So activate the Site of Grace, the Lost Grace right here, and we can begin our exploration in the next part. So from the Site of Grace, make your way down this pathway over here, and you can jump down, skipping the enemies on the right side. Go down this little hole, make sure to roll and dodge out of that enemy's way, and follow this pathway down here into this room. Turn left, and as you turn left, you're then going to see some enemies over here. You can run right by him. You might actually get hit. I sometimes get hit by the bow and arrow guy. It's a little annoying, the crossbow person, but it's fine. Keep going down this path, and then you're gonna arrive in this room, and there's an upstairs and a downstairs. Now, if you choose to go upstairs, you're going to run into a Magma Wyrm boss. Up here, this is an optional boss that you don't really have to take out. He is going to drop a dragon heart once you defeat him. If you played the base game, you've most likely fought this boss already, so you are going to be very familiar with its fighting style. But when you do take it out, it will drop a dragon heart, which you can use at a dragon altar, and an ancient dragon smithing stone, which you can use to maximize the power of any of your weapons. These are very useful for you on your adventure. Anyway, once you're done with this boss, you can then drop right down here. There's going to be an enemy right below you. You can now go downstairs to the left side. Walk out here, and you're going to see that there seems to be nothing straight ahead. Like, there's no bridge, there's nothing. But when I say it's okay to jump, you can jump down here. It's fine. And it's a long fall. I'm actually surprised we don't die here. You just land safely, and you're going to find yourself at a boss door. There is an item right before the boss fight, so feel free to grab that real quick. Walk right into the boss fight, and the boss is going to be really familiar because you actually fought this boss on the way here. It's the Ancient Dragon Man again. Alright, so for this boss, you really want to just be careful of the range attacks and the jumping attacks towards you and the double slash. That's really what you want to be careful of. Just make sure to keep your distance, attack the enemy when you find those open opportunities, especially after he jumps, you can punish him. If you have a summon, go ahead and use that. I pretty much just started to cheese this fight with my Carrion Piercer. It's just the easiest way to cheese anything that's very humanoid-like and just knocks them down completely. Let me know how you actually fought this boss though, because I know people, not everyone wants to cheese freeze build and people want to actually do fights their own way. So write down in the comments below how you did it. So when you do defeat it, it's going to drop the Dragon Hunter Great Katana, which is going to be very useful later on in this video. I actually plus 10 this all the way up with my Somber smithing stones, so make sure to do that. Anyway, after you're done with this boss, you don't want to hit that blue thing as that'll make you escape out to the start. Instead, open up these green doors in front of you and proceed further on through this little cave. There's going to be a site of grace on the way there, so just make sure to touch that and activate that so you can come here at any time. This will be the Dragon Pit Terminus site of grace. After that, you want to make your way right outside of this area and continue following me along this pathway. You'll then arrive at the foot of the Jagged Peak. Make your way slowly down the rocks and get ready for a battle with this dragon. You're going to want to battle all the dragons along the way. It's going to be important. So this is the first one. And finally, once you do defeat it in battle, it's going to drop. It's going to say great enemy felled. You're going to get yourself some good amount of runes. And then you're going to get a dragon heart and a dragon scale flesh. After defeating this dragon, then head south and follow this pathway. You're going to pass by these lightning goats on the way. They're terrifying when they start rolling. Just go right through this pathway in between these rocks here. And you start to see these little statues on the ground, which means we are approaching our destination. And you'll see this giant, terrifying dragon that's just fallen over. And that is going to be where the altar is. So make your way over there. When you arrive, make sure to go and touch the grace. You can fast travel here at any time. The Grand Altar of Dragon Communion. And then you'll see someone here. This is the Dragon Priestess. She then asks you a question and you want to write that you want to devour the Draconic Essence. When you do that, she'll tell you to head to the Jagged Peak to fight Bayle, which actually has a lot of cool lore in this game. She's then going to reach out to touch your head and give you an Ancient Dragon's Blessing that you're going to want to use in the final fight. You can come back anytime and talk to her and get these blessings if you need, but it helps reduce damage. Now at this point, you can continue on with the quest and going up the peak. However, there is an alternate version of this quest line that will yield different results if you do a specific task that I'm going to share with you, which will be timestamped in this specific section. If you don't want to do this alternate version, feel free to skip this part and go to the next section. In your game, you're going to come across an NPC named Thiollier, and to get to Thiollier, all you have to do is just make your way from the castle front up this pathway until you reach the site of grace called the Pillar Path Cross. This is where you interact with Thiollier for the first time. After you do interact with Thiollier for the first time, you can head over to the main gate cross Lost Grace, where you will talk to Moore. And when you talk to Moore, Moore's going to give you a black syrup item that you should give to Thiollier. You're going to go back to Thiollier and interact with him at the Pillar Path Cross. And when you select the black syrup option, he'll then give you something called Thioller's Concoction, which has the ability to even put a dragon to sleep. Once you have this item, make your way back to the Grand Altar of Dragon Communion. Just a quick reminder to not use this item on yourself because you will just die. Don't do it. Now, at the Grand Altar of Dragon Communion, you can set the time to night. Once it's nighttime, you can go up to the Priestess and use the concoction. Just be aware, if you use this concoction on her, the ending of this questline is permanently changed. So please watch this part to see if you want to do this. After you make her sleep, then set the time to morning, where the Priestess will wake up and then have a completely different dialogue talking to you. At the end of this entire questline, after you defeat the dragon Bayle, you'll then talk to the Priestess again, and the Priestess will ask you if you were the one to put her to sleep, which you'll respond yes. After that, you'll get 2 rewards from this Priestess: the Dragonbolt of Florissax, which calls down red lightning to increase all forms of damage negation to you and your nearby allies, and you'll also get the Ancient Dragon Florissax summon. That's all you'll get for the rewards at the end of the questline. So if this interests you, you can do the Sleeping Concoction, but I personally prefer the other rewards. Let's continue the questline. So now you can make your way back to that big circle area where you fought that dragon boss. I teleported back to the dragon's pit and just ran back to the center by these 2 big pillars over here. So just follow along this pathway and make sure when you open up your map, you're following the top portion. Just right along this complete edge over here, and don't fall off. Just stick close to the wall. Then you're going to turn and just go up this pathway. You're going to see a wind stream over there, and you're going to want to jump up on it. So just go ahead, run up to that and jump up, which will bring you to the next section. When you arrive, continue going forward across this bridge over here. And once you make it across this bridge, you will arrive at the next site of grace. So make sure to tap that, and this will be the foot of the Jagged Peak. Make sure to level up anything if you have experience points from all those dragon fights, because we're heading to another boss fight. So head up this hill. And it's going to be mandatory to take out these two dragons that are going to be in front of you. So when these two dragons are fighting, you're going to notice that there are 2 HP bars. One that's going to be small, and then another one that is going to show up as the big boss bar. You're going to want to focus on the one with the big bar that's not taking damage, as that is the stronger dragon, and the other dragon's having a duke out with it. So make sure you're just focusing on the big dragon and try not to really get hit by any of the flames or anything, or any of the attacks from them, as they do a lot of damage. I luckily killed them at the exact same time. So when you fell the dragon, you're going to get a dragon heart and another dragon scale flesh, and you're going to start hearing a voice laughing in the background, hee hee hee, ha ha ha, and you're going to want to go towards the upper part of this cliff here to see what's going on. And then you'll find our friend Igon sitting on the floor. Don't do anything, don't kill him, just talk to him and exhaust the dialogue completely. Igon will give you a furled finger and tell you to summon him on your final battle with Bayle the dragon. After that, leave him right there and continue going up the peak. So after talking to Igon, you're going to proceed north, and you're going to see the wind stream that's going up. Hop on your steed and jump up on this to go to the next floor, or just next elevation height. There you go. And then you should see a second one right in front of that to go even higher. Keep going forward, pick up that item on the floor, then go forward and enter into this little cave area, or this narrow pathway. Go up this hill over here, but you want to be careful of these falling rocks. So just get out of the way of the first one by moving towards the right. And then for the second one, I just hug all the way to the left wall to dodge that. And you should see an item on the right here. A Scadutree fragment. Use that to power you up if you need it. Keep going up this pathway, and right in front of you will be the dragon Sennesax. Now, every time you come here, the dragon will be asleep if the fight resets. It only will wake up if you go a little further, or if you attack it from a distance. So what I did for this fight was just do basically a bunch of range attacks while avoiding its lightning, getting hit by its physical attacks, and backing up as far as I can from its fire breathing or flame attacks, because it does a lot of damage and can easily take you out. And if you continually back out to the area where you start the fight, Sennesax will chase you down there and then run back out to where it spawns in, so you can keep respawning it over and over again while its health keeps going lower, and cheese it that way. Another way that you can take out Sennesax is by using Rotten Breath on it. It's a great cheese, so you just use a Rotten Breath and just wait for its HP to go all the way down. However, I'm also interested in anyone sharing what strats they use to beat Sennesax, as some people, you know, just don't like to cheese bosses like this and fight hardcore. So let me know what build you use. Once you do defeat Sennesax, you're going to be getting an Ancient Dragon Smithing Stone, which is great for updating your weapon and all the way, and a Somber Ancient Dragon Smithing Stone. So you have both to upgrade both types of weapons to the maximum amount. So after defeating the dragon, all you want to do now is head up this entire pathway. It's a big hill climb, so just get to the top there, and once you arrive at the top, you'll find yourself a site of grace here. And this site of grace is the Jagged Peak Mountainside. Before we proceed further up the Jagged Peak, there's actually an item here that you can get that can transform you into this Ancient Dragon. This transformation is totally different from the other transformation we'll get at the end of this quest line. Now, if you're one of my subscribers and watched a previous video, you should be able to do this, but let me show everyone what to do in order to get this transformation. So what you want to do is, from the high road Shield Cross Site of Grace, make your way all the way north until you enter into this building here, which is the Shadow Keep, and you're going to take the elevator all the way up into this room, and then when you arrive at the top, touch this Lost Grace to get the Shadow Keep main gate. Now, if you were doing the Dragon Quest at the beginning of the game, I do have another video showing how you can skip Rolana to get to this side, so watch that if you need to and then return back to this video. However, if you already are at this area, you want to proceed into the room, defeat the Rhino Porcupine boss, and once you defeat that boss, you're then going to turn left and go this way. Walk up these stairs over here. Continue going up these steps. Dodge the Lance Guy. Keep going up. In this room, you want to aim to the left side. Dodge the Knight shooting the arrows. You want to come out and hang a hard right towards these boats over here. Watch out for these little guys here throwing poisons. Keep going straight. Past the steps over here. And then stay to the left where you'll find a ladder. There's a ladder. And drop. Once you make it all the way down, just keep going left under this waterfall into this room where you'll find another ladder. Descend down this ladder as well. And when you make it all the way to the bottom, you will enter this room and you will see a painting on the wall. You'll find the Domain of Dragons painting on this portrait over here. Activate that and then you can head all the way back to where we were at the Jagged Peak Mountainside. When you're back at this Site of Grace, just simply follow this pathway right here. Take this wind up. Then land on this rock. After landing on this rock, you're going to make it right to this spot. And over here, you'll see a ghost chair with a guy sitting on it. And then eventually it'll just disappear because you have the required item for this ghost. You'll pick up the rock heart item that will allow you to transform into the Ancient Dragon that I showed you. Now that you have this transformation, let's proceed on to the next boss. And don't forget to subscribe to find out bonuses like this. Let's keep going. So now take that wind stream all the way back up. And what you want to do is just follow along this pathway that I'm taking. So stay to these rocks over here, just like this. Hang towards the left side. The lightning is kind of a good guide for you on where to go, because that's where the boss fight's going to be, around this area. So keep going, follow this pathway, don't get hit by the lightning, and you'll come across another wind stream that you can take to go to the next floor up. After you take this wind stream up, you want to continue going towards the east side up this hill here, which will bring you into another room where you'll find an item right in front of you. Just watch out for these slimes. You'll get another Ancient Dragon Smithing Stone, which is going to be really important for your weapon upgrading. Then after that, you just hang left over here and go up this pathway where you'll find another wind stream. Take this up, and then you'll find another Site of Grace. So just activate that. This is going to be the Jagged Peak Summit Grace. There's no more graces further beyond this point. Now you can walk directly into the boss room, and you might be wondering, where on earth is Igon summoned? Unfortunately, it will not show up the first time until the boss appears, and then you have to backtrack towards the door. I had a rough time finding it at first, and most likely you won't even beat the boss the first try anyway, as this boss is very spontaneous and it's going to throw you off completely. It showed up for me and then it just rushed me and I had no idea what to do. And I got wrecked. Absolutely destroyed. So if you're curious, I respect by having the Dragon Hunter's Great Katana at +10, which scales with strength and dex and has a chance for blood loss buildup. I also noticed it does a lot of poise damage against an enemy. I'm rocking the silver tier mask for bleed enhancement, and then Armor of Night, Gauntlets of Night, and Greaves of Night just to have. My medallions was the Crimson Amber medallion just to increase my HP, because this boss hits like a truck and takes away all your HP. The Rotten Wing Sword insignia to raise power with successive attacks. A Star Scourge heirloom to raise my strength further, a Prothesis Wearer heirloom to raise my dexterity, and I allocated most of my tiers into Crimson tiers versus Cerulean tiers. And then for my flask, I'm rocking an Opaline Hard tier, which is going to boost all damage negation, and a Thorny Crack tier, which will temporarily boost successive attack power. I popped this on phase 2. Anyway, let's go into the fight now. So when you walk into the Bayle fight, you immediately want to go ahead and click on the summon and get Igon out. as fast as possible and then be able to dodge any of the following 3 attacks that Bayle may do. Bayle can jump at you. All you have to do is just roll in a way where you're moving while he is slamming down and not doing it too late. He's also going to have an attack where he shoots a fire beam at you in a straight direction, so you just have to roll to the right or left a little bit to avoid that. And then he has a widespread fire attack, and what you want to do is just roll forward into it like I'm doing here to avoid that. Those are the 3 opening attacks. At this point, Igon should be distracting Bayle with his attacks and all that yelling, and you'll be able to safely spirit summon whatever you may need. I'm using my Mimic as it also is going to have the exact same weapon as me, and the great part about this weapon is that it has a very cool ranged attack that I use on the dragon. So pretty much you want to avoid getting hit by this dragon at all times. He'll also do a move where he'll run away from you and then do this really widespread tail whip. Be careful of that. If you get too close, he'll also start breathing fire in a widespread area from the center point of him, so you want to back out when you see that. Just avoid any other lightning attacks you see, and then when his health gets pretty low, he goes into phase 2. So the floor is going to light up on fire, start exploding, and then he's going to go up in the air and kind of circle in a anti-clockwise pattern with meteors falling down. I just rotate in a clockwise manner, kind of just opposite of what he's doing, and try to move to a side because he's going to come landing down straight on the pathway. If you're a little bit nervous about the massive damage you'll get during that, you can pop your Flask of Wonders Physic, which will kind of negate the big damage that happens during this part. After this, you just have to attack him, avoid his attacks, use the distractions of your spirit summon and Igon to your advantage, and eventually you'll be able to get this dragon down to 0 and beat Bayle. And when you finally defeat Bayle, he'll drop the Heart of Bayle, which is going to be a really important item to get an incantation. But now that Bayle is down, you'll hear Igon scream in the background about Bayle no longer being able to hunt him. So what you want to do after that is just activate the Lost Grace that is right over here at the boss fight called the Rest of the Dragon, and then you want to open your map and go to the foot of the Jagged Peak. From this side of Grace, just go along this pathway until you go right back to where you originally saw Igon's body, where he was screaming and yelling about getting revenge on the dragon. This is the same spot where you fought the double dragons. And you'll notice that there is a drop on his body. Just pick that up to get his complete armor set right over here. When you pick it up, you'll get his Greatbow, the Helm, Igon's armor, Igon's gauntlets, Igon's loincloth, and a bell bearing. After that, you can travel right back to the Grand Altar of the Dragon Communion side of Grace. And once you're there, you'll notice that the Dragon Priestess is gone and there are just items on the floor here. When you pick up the drop, you'll get the Priestess heart that will allow you to transform into this dragon form, and the Flowerstone Gavel that does this attack and it scales with arcane. Really cool weapons. And if you approach the altar here and do communion with Bayle, you can use the Heart of Bayle that you got to either get Bayle's Tyranny that scales with arcane at 49, or you can get Bayle's Flame Lightning that scales with arcane 53. Now that you've conquered the strongest dragon in the game and have all these cool items, you should check out this video over here.